The one thing, it's my title, What's Eating Gilbert Grape? It should be What's Eating Frankie B. And this does eat at me quite a bit. Now, I'm not going to do the blame thing, whose blame it is. No, I'm not going to go there. We've had our differences and stuff like that. But you're reminded on holidays like this and her birthday and Valentine's Day and things like this that you got a daughter. She's out there. She's alive and well, I hope. Of course, there's been no communication. There's some conditions that you can't control. There are situations sometimes you can't control. But you deal with it the best you can. Do I miss her? Absolutely. Do I love her? Absolutely. Just to get the record straight on here, I look back on these photographs and I say, wow, those are great times. And I do look through my albums every now and again. Various reasons, different people and different situations, ex-girlfriends, whatever it might be, whatever. But here today, I'm going to talk a little bit about my situation. Now, I guess I could hold this. Whoops, I have to point this camera in another direction here. Yeah, I do look back on photographs of me and my daughter and raising her as a single man since she was age 5. I think I could actually blow this up a little bit. There we go. See the resemblance? There's actually not a day that goes by that I don't think about her. She may not think that, but I can only speak for myself. This is, I believe it's Canada. Oh, with the sunglasses. There we go, right? There you go. And we're going to take you through some of these pictures. And I believe I've used them before, Canada. On the ferry going to Victoria, Canada. I'm going to use some of these photographs, yeah. I'm just kind of going through the album book here. Looks like a happy kid. Well, for the most part, I think she was. Beautiful girl. Beautiful girl. And this is a favorite one of mine here. Pretty burly guy. I was, certainly. The Italian in me showed out with that snozzola. It did. What else we got here? We're going to show a couple of more, but of course, when we had one of our dogs, Maggie, was she in this picture? Yes, she is. One of our favorite dogs. Beautiful, beautiful dog. It's her dog. And after I show you some of these pictures, we'll go on with the story. Look at the chubby face on her here. And this is at our house that I bought in Seattle, Washington, with Maggie and Misty. I think she's a pretty, there we go, even very young. She's a pretty happy kid, I think, for the most part. I think she really was. And hopefully she's still happy now. Let's get this magnification off here. Okay. And these are just a few pictures here. Pizza and pipes. Got a party for her. That's was Suzanne, my girlfriend at the time. Doctor's daughter, that's her. And her very first bicycle. Very happy. I was terrible in trying to teach. Okay, I did this with that. Always with the mute button, I swear to God. I don't know how much you missed, but always touching the screen. Anyway, I said a few things about these pictures, and I said a few things about whether she had happiness or not, and she did. There's some things that, oh, my back, when I have to, to tell you the truth, when I have to lean over this way, it just kills my back. For real, I don't make up stories like some people do. But you've seen some photographs, and there's more, but maybe we'll hold off on it. You got the point. She had a good childhood, despite not always having a mother in her life. I had to play both parts, man. That was really hard. But I didn't mind. I mean, there's a lot I gave up, but it was well worth it. Even now, I'm not talking, it was well worth it. I think I did the best I could under the situations where I was a male, single parent, divorced, who had to take care of a child that was 5 years old. And I had to play both roles. It's not as easy. It's not really an easy thing for a man to do, having a female child, They always need a mother figure in their life. And I've dated a lot and stuff, but, and she'd start to get close to somebody, and then, we wouldn't be seeing each other anymore. And that is what, could really hurt. And of course, during that time, I've dated quite a few women, and I guess in her own right, she was hoping that, one of these would catch on. And let's share another photo here. And this is in Hawaii. And I would get right at the snorkeling beach. I would take her on vacation. Huh? She looked like a miserable child. Beautiful girl. Well, the point is, I do miss those days when we started. Well, I miss those days all the way back. It is not anything that I don't remember. My memory is pretty good for that stuff, and I really miss those days. There's some things you could have control over. There's some things you cannot. It takes two people to make something work, Two people, not just one. So what's eating Gilbert Grape? Me being Gilbert Grape. Yes, on a daily basis, it does bother me a lot that I'm not in touch. I didn't get to really know my grandchildren. which is a crying shame. It really is. And I'm not going to pass blame. I'm just not going to go there. There's something I could have said about that, and really didn't have to do with me, but her choices. But not because I'm a bad person. It's just that people can be awfully stubborn, and people get hurt from that, from being stubborn. I'm one of them. Hurt that, well, I've been talking to her. Hurt that I really didn't get to really, really know my grandchildren. We're practically all grown up now. That bothers me inside. I do have a heart. Believe it or not, I actually do have a heart. I'm compassionate. I'm sympathetic. I can be empathetic. All those emotions here on Valentine's Day, 2026. I'll even give a message to my daughter. Shauna, I miss you a lot. I always have. I wish things were different. Sure, I do think about you. I'm pretty sure at some point you must think about me. But I'm not comparing apples to oranges. We're not going to do that. I don't know what you're thinking these days, but I'm telling you how I think. And to my viewers, we didn't even have a tumultuous relationship of that sort. It's just disagreeing on certain things, which got out of hand. And it takes two personalities to create that. In some ways, our personalities were similar. In some ways, our personalities were different. Still her father. She carries my DNA. She carries my blood. That's one thing she'll never be able to get rid of. When I'm no longer here, there's no last chance. I'm going to kick back for just a minute here, if you don't mind, because on my back, I got to do this every now and then because I can't really lean over and hold that position. And since I got the microphone on me, I guess that's probably working out pretty good. And for a lot of non-believers out there, yes, do love my daughter very much. I do miss her. I can't force her to write me. She knows how. My email is certainly. She probably, I can't say for sure, but I'm fairly sure that she probably tunes into my YouTube channel every now and again when she's not busy or she gets curious. And I'm pretty sure that her way of being in my life is to watch my social media and see if Dad's okay, what's going on in my life. It's another way of her being in my life without actually being in my life. You understand where that's coming from? Yeah. I can see that happening. They may not want to be in your life physically, but they at least, it's like having a family. It's like having a father in your life, but not being in their life. They just watch your YouTube shows. I'm fairly sure, not 100%, but I'm fairly sure is what's happening with that. Okay, so you've seen the photographs, you've seen the memories. But as I said, there's not a day that goes by I don't think about her. We're both missing a lot in our lives, not being each other. Now, of course, I'm thousands and thousands of miles away, and she wasn't really appreciative when I left Seattle to move to Hawaii. In fact, that same day that I was moving is when she had her first child. Same day. Talk about timing. But I was there at least when she gave birth to her first child. I'm glad to say I was there. I probably had my van waiting for me a long time at the apartment I held at the time temporarily. I still had stuff in the apartment couldn't have a chance to clean up. I apologized to the landlord. I gave whatever I had in there left, utensils, blankets, whatever. And there's some very usable things, blow-up mattresses, bed, whatever, that I gave to my neighbors in the apartments who could use it. So it didn't go to waste. It didn't go to waste at all. So let me get my back in order again, and I'll lean up again here. I don't even think I have my camera straight on here, but no, it's not like I put something out of my mind. Sometimes things happen with families, you don't get along, or someone could be very negative, or you don't see eye to eye, and that happens all the time with family members and friendships and peers and all that stuff. it kind of goes along with life. When it really comes out, you notice is when there's holidays and sitting around a dinner table. You ever notice that growing up? Somebody would always get into something to spoil the dinner somehow, to bring up some politics. And Italian families did that, but I think all these ethnic families actually did that. I'm pretty sure of it, you know. Anyway, you'll always have the memories, and that can never go away. Will I ever speak to my daughter on a phone in person? Will she ever write? You know, I don't know. I'm doubting it. I kind of wish that would happen because, you know, I really don't know how many years I got left. I'm doing very good. I think with my health, I don't have any high blood pressure. I don't have diabetes. I don't have any liver problems. I had some, not even a kidney problem. I had a kidney stone problem, which is not exactly being a kidney problem per se. Although I eat good, take vitamins, and try to take care of myself in a lot of ways, some things I don't do good either, as you know. But I think I got a head start on life here a little bit. May get a wee bit of longevity out of my life at some point, you know. I'm not doing too bad right now. It actually surprises myself, actually, to be honest with you. Yeah, sometimes I do think that, you know. I hope this microphone is working out real well. Yeah. I think it's charged up. So if you don't hear my audio, it's breaking up. Also, if you dare to, you know, say something, let me know if the microphone is good or whatever, if the sound is actually good. Yeah, I could look at these pictures. I got so many pictures. I could look at these pictures and I could remember back. I have nothing really bad to say about her growing up. She got a little spoiled. I spoiled her rotten when I could. I wasn't a rich man, but she's, you know, she never really went without. She had medical needs, dental needs, you know, she had it all. She had my attention. And I never used to expose her to, unless I was really, really dating somebody that's different. I never really exposed her to my little nighttime visits with some girlfriends I've had through the years, and there were plenty. They may come over the house, but I made sure she was asleep. I was in the other room because I wouldn't do that in front of her, obviously. And, you know, I had respect for that situation, you know, which, you know, you should really. Yeah, I've had women over, all that stuff, you know. But the only ones she's really exposed to the ones I was really dating, like Suzanne and a few others that, you know, she got to know. But unfortunately, a lot of these women that I met were, you know, fly-by-nights, a lot of them, or maybe it just didn't work out. But I've had some pretty good women in my life that I thought at the time would have been great for her. So I went as far as, and what is that organization? Brothers and Sisters, something. Because of the fact that she didn't have like a permanent female in her life, I was just dating around. So of course she didn't have a permanent female in her life. It was this Brother and Sisters organization. I forgot the name of it. Some redhead gal. She was one of them. And she would take my daughter out on the weekends. I don't know. After a while, my daughter didn't like it, so we didn't continue. But and the reason I did that is because I was being both mother and father to her, which I enjoyed, but it was still a very difficult job. Certain things you just can't talk about with your daughter, but there's certain things I had to. She would pose questions on me. So now I was a mother and father, some personal questions. And you had to do the best you could do, but that's why I kind of got her from the Brother and Sisters, whatever organization, for a while. Didn't last terribly long, but I did that much, you know. I'm sure it helped a little bit, but she wasn't into it long term and all that stuff. So, but I continued to be a dad to her, and I did everything I needed to do. You know, she always had me to talk to if she had to. She wasn't one with a lot of friends. She had her friends from school. She talked to on Facebook, but then even they turned on her a lot, made her a little bit bitter. Kind of like me on here on YouTube, you know, get a little bitter about some people, about people, period. Melissa, and I like her members, Melissa. She was a heavyweight girl, kind of overweight. But then, as friends do, and always happens on social media, they turn on each other for some reason. And then your whole ideology of people is like, fuck, I don't need them. And, I can't trust anybody. She went through those stages too. That's, I think, what happened when she became her husband at the time. She took to him. It was her way out. It was her way of being independent, permanent friend. She didn't have to depend on Melissa and people from her schooling in her high school at Shorecrest. Is that what it was? Shorecrest High School. She didn't have to depend on that. She had him. And I understand. We talk about this, what goes on YouTube about it. Some people get into a rush into a relationship and they just, they're not always satisfied with the end results of it. Some shit happens, you find something out that you didn't know. Relationship ends, and that's the story. You got children from them. Father ain't in the life anymore, or whatever. Shit happens. Shit happened with her. I divorced her mom. But as proof of the pudding, when mom had her visitation rights, because I got full custody, you don't hear that a lot. No, you don't. I did. Only I could do that. Because I was a better dad, period. That's all it was. She knew that. She knew that very well. Even her own mother knew that too. She was too busy cavorting around with new men, going to the bars with her sister, drinking and meeting new and exciting men. Like a shark that's been eating vegetables for a while and says, fuck this. I need some meat. Yeah, pretty much. Just like some women I met that were in long-term relationships, married. So they were kind of hunting after the marriage was over, but they were not interested in getting into a long-term relationship. And you can't blame them because they just spent how many years with their husband. It didn't work out. They were tied into that relationship and they just wanted to spread their wings and they just wanted to fly and experience other men because they were with somebody for such a very long time. I understand. I do. This still is one of my favorite pictures, one of them anyway. Shortly after she was born, holding her in my arms. What could be better than that, So yes, I do look in my album book. I do reminisce. Not just her, but other people that are in my life, friends, girlfriends, whatever. I do reminisce. I do that. I look back on old pictures. This one's kind of funny. I was at work. He says, leave me alone. Of course, you got some glare in here. It's at the parks department. Yeah. It certainly was. We all go through changes as I am now, I'm not the young man I used to be, but I'm kind of trying to hold it together as best as I can. Mother Nature has been somewhat kind to me, I think, and hopefully it'll continue that way. And if I have something to do with that, I have something to do with it. Can't fight Mother Nature. And you also can't fight people's feelings. Whether they want to be in your life or not is their choice. It could be something really small that you make into bigger things. Next thing you know, you're not talking to each other for years. And boy, that goes on in a lot of families. It's just not me. I think you guys know that. It happens to a lot of people. There's family members, brothers, sisters, whatever, aunts, uncles, that you just don't talk to, and you haven't talked for years. You feel you don't have the need to talk to them. Hello, Princess Anne. Thank you. I like to still think I am handsome, but not like the old days. Yeah, I don't think I was a bad-looking guy growing up there, but I never saw that. And you probably think I'm not cocky. I'm really not a narcissist. I am not a narcissist. As I said, you heard me say it 1,000 times if I said it once. I'm my own biggest critic. I really am. I'm never satisfied with the status quo. I really am not. I realize I'm getting older. And I realize I'm in my last quarter of life. I realize I'm not going to be here forever. But there's only so many things I could accomplish when you're dealing with other important issues at the time that is so absolutely unnecessary. Very unnecessary. You got to deal with a lot of shit in life that comes and hits your way. The point is, I'm making is that you deal with it. Don't let it destroy you. Don't let it do that. Even an uncommitted relationship, with a family member, don't let it destroy you. You have to move on. I have a family now. Yes, I do call it my family. There's no question about it. I have a mate. And she's really not terribly too much older than my daughter, really, by 5 years or something. I remember when I first started dating women from the Philippines or something. Ew, Dad, she's about my age. Yuck. She'd say things like that. And of course, she's figured the girl's just using you. Well, a lot of them were. So I didn't see that many Filipinas, really. But a couple of them were. But you can't make a blanket statement. You can't make a blanket statement with that. Not all women are out to do this and do that to you. Maybe you had bad experiences, so therefore you're talk very negative about Filipinas. There's some really incredible people. I don't regret moving out here at all. I don't care about the infrastructure, all that stuff. I don't regret living out here. I don't regret it at all. But sometimes you have to move on with your life, just like your children. They leave the nest. Now you got what do you call the empty nest syndrome? I experienced that. I had to force her to leave my house, is what happened, unfortunately, because some things that went down, I just didn't think was right. And see, she was of age. I was able to actually do that, Your wife, lucky to have you because you're a good father for her kids and good partner on Gilda. Thank you for that. I try to be. I'm not perfect. I get upset with her sometimes, obviously. The copycat channel likes to emphasize that. I'm just human, man. I don't agree with everything, and I never will. Nor shall she agree with me at everything. That's a healthy relationship, actually. Yeah. So, I do look back on these photographs, and I wish things were different. People like Nico and people like that like to make fun of my situation. But, I don't want to get too into the details about that. He wasn't in this kid's life for a certain period of time because of some things that were going on in his life. And, did he get custody of his children? I don't think so. I did. Okay. I did. I don't think he did. He was into some bad shit. I was never into bad shit. When I raised my daughter, I barely even drank. I smoked, but I was even more respectful to smoke outside. Doesn't mean something didn't come in. Especially on a cold day when it was snow, I used to put my body half out the door. I didn't want to go out in the snow. And some would get in the house. That's probably the worst scenario, Probably the worst scenario. But I was respectful not to really smoke around her. And you never saw beer in my refrigerator. You never saw wine. She's never saw beer in my house. Never did. Only thing I did is I'd go out during those days to hit the clubs with a few people I know, have a beer or two, a Budweiser. On a real, challenging night, I'd have a rum and Coke, watered down, That was it. That's the extent of my alcoholism, which I never had. So, and to this day, I still don't drink. I don't even have a beer. I don't even have a glass of wine. The closest I come to wine is resveratrol, which is a supplement, which is like getting the good chemistry of like 1,000 glasses of wine. That's what I have. That's the closest thing. And of course, rubbing alcohol, sanitizing alcohol from my hands, which I use every day. That's closest I'm going to come to alcohol. That's it. I don't like alcohol. I'm not an advocate of alcohol at all. People act too stupid on alcohol, and they get too cocky, and they get into trouble all the time, So I'm not into that. I don't need any more trouble. Oh, God, remember this? That's my first apartment. Looked like Mata Hoopo or something, Check that out. Still the sunglasses, though. So it's not a new thing for me. Sunglasses is not a new thing for me after all. I was always known for wearing, like a Howard Stern or something. I've always wore sunglasses. Look how burly I was, too. Yeah. pretty solid. You can tell from that picture. Pictures don't lie unless you edit it. And there's a lot of editing that goes on here on YouTube. Is there not? Yeah. But anyway, that's the gist of this story. I mean, I don't forget. I don't stop loving. I can't force people what they think about me, whether it's on YouTube or whether it's my child or things like that. Of course, I wish things were different because, as I said, I don't know how long I have on this earth. You never know. Nobody really knows, no matter what age you are. You just don't know. And then you can't bring the person back and say, I'm sorry and whatever. Or maybe she's not, because I honestly don't know what's going on with her. I really don't. Only haters makes bad sayings. You're a good person and God bless you, sir. Thank you very much, Princess Anne. I know people are listening to this now that don't like you. But you know what, Princess Anne? Listen, it don't matter. They're pointing out what they think is not a good life for you or who you are, what you look like, all that stuff. But know in your heart, you know that their life is not perfect either. Or they wouldn't come on and hate like they do on here and try to be arrogant. Yeah, and cocky and abusive to people like yourself. Believe in yourself, because who else is going to do that? Believe in yourself. Try to let those insults and whatever they're trying to do against you just roll off. Let it roll off you. That is probably the best thing you could really do. Now, despite my not being in the kind of wanting relationship I want with my daughter, my life is still going on. You can't stop your life because you got to move on. Maybe you had a wife that died and you mourned for a while. Hello, Sasa. And you mourned for a while and it hurts. And like this movie I saw called Shell, I don't know if you guys got to go see it. I suggested this movie, not to be confused with another movie, Shell, with some more popular actors. And I forgot the name of the actor in here. It's not like really a worldwide known movie, but really had to do with this guy's depression. His wife died on him. They were all in the big old fucking highlands of Scotland, in the middle of bumfuck Egypt, And he had a daughter. Maybe she's around 20 in this movie, and they were miserable. They were so depressed. They had no friends out there, just people that came by at the gas station, a failing gas station. They were out in the middle of the mountains and the boonies, the highlands, where it gets cold. And you're welcome, Princess Anne. Horrible existence. She didn't have anybody important in her life. Her dad had some kind of a long-term disease, but he also had seizures. She had to be there to take care of him. She couldn't leave this dismal spot. Depression set in on both of them to the umpteenth degree. Really horrible. Horrible. She had nobody in her life, and he lost his wife, which is so important. It's like losing a child, too. I feel the same way. I lost a part of me, point being made. He wound up killing himself. Got off his car, and a big old truck was coming, and he ran right out on the highway, out from there at the gas station. Ran in front of me because he was so much thinking about her life that she deserves not to live there and give her excuse to get out of there and have a life. He sacrificed his life. But he was also so depressed and missing his wife that he felt he had nothing to live for. We all have something to live for. There's always, always something to live for. All of us. I don't care who you are, what you look like, whether you drink, whether you're obese. That really don't matter. We're going to go on a different mode here right now. Because, yes, I am going to go out and have one of those nasty things for a few bit here. And I don't feel like sitting here like I have. Kind of uncomfortable on my back. I like to move around. I'm very mobile. Yes, I am, for my age. But don't think in any form, in any way, that I don't miss my daughter. And yes, I do think about it just about every day that goes by. I've tried writing a few times, but I can't force somebody to write back. Like I said, I think, but I don't know for sure, that she likely watches my shows and just inadvertently, is a way of her being in my life without actually being in my life. I think she still wants to know whether I'm alive or dead, what's going on with me without actually having to communicate with me and be in my life. I'm, again, if not on a regular basis, probably sits there with her present boyfriend, father of a new child, and probably every now and then listens to my show. I don't regret moving out of Washington State, though, and she didn't understand it. I don't regret that. I also had to spread my wings, too. And she knows how much I loved Hawaii, and I already owned 2 acres of land there prior to that. Okay, I was just, yeah. Get in and get out of the job, just get the fuck out of there. I had 2 acres of land, and there's my girl. I got lots of children around here, if you think about it. It's one of them. Love her to death. But I had to do what I had to do, and sometimes your children, they may not understand that, I have a life to live also, and unfortunately it would mean separating myself by a lot of miles from her. She didn't like that. She didn't like that. I remember saying, Dad, why do you have to move so far away? Yeah, she did say that. And I remembered, I told you I have a good memory for that stuff. She was upset, why did you, because she was talking to me on the phone a lot. And she was, whatever her problems was, she would discuss with me and expected an answer. And I'd give her advice and always say that she just never really took my advice. But that's what the part of the problem actually was, in part anyway. Well, there's the white dog. That was part of the problem. Not all of it, but that was part of the problem. But I had to spread my wings too, because she was younger and she has a life. She has children of her own. She's got a family. And I found I was alone. I was alone a lot of my life, despite how many girlfriends I might have had through all the years. I still got lonely too. She had somebody and she had her kids. And, I had to do something with my life. Those that could understand that will know where I'm coming from, okay? And those that don't really want to know, don't care, they're going to change the story around. I'm a terrible parent. I'm terrible this and that. Well, I wasn't perfect, but I think I was a damn good parent. Okay, there were claims I was overprotective. Sure, I never regretted that. I don't mind. I'm very happy that I was, because there's some parents that don't give a shit what their kids are doing. As a baby, a toddler, they let them run around the streets. You see that here in the Philippines every fucking day. It's disheartening to see that. It's just, it's terrible. It doesn't necessarily mean they're bad parents, but, our cultures are different. They're so different. Like taking them on a motorcycle, the whole family's on a freaking motorcycle, Very dangerous, obviously. I mean, I wouldn't do that, But, some people do. It's their gig. I'm glad to see I still got some people listening in here. Why don't we go back on camera? We're not afraid to go on camera here. But I'm going to kind of come to a conclusion on here, say that you could try to be the best that you can with people in your life, and but you have to make a decision in your life whether something is working or not. And I don't regret moving out of Seattle. I don't regret it at all. It was changing too much for the worst. It's a great place. I first moved there for the first 10 years, I say. Great place. I used to boast about it quite a bit. And there was a lot to boast about. I was very proud to say that I became a Washingtonian. I basically am. Besides being in New York, I've lived, 25, 26 years in Washington State. I guess that would qualify me being a Washingtonian, even though I wasn't born there. Now, Frank, you're in New York and you were born there. Well, I spent enough years in Washington. In fact, I spent over 14 years in Hawaii, but you can't call me a Hawaiian. That's the difference. Because I don't have Hawaiian blood. It's an ethnic thing. I don't qualify for being a Hawaiian. Nor would I care to be. I don't really, be honest with you. I'm happy who I am. I have no problem with who I am. Do I make mistakes? Oh, fuck yeah. All the time. But the one thing is that I learn from my mistakes. I know whether to be humble and whether not to be. And if you've been following my show for a long time, and a lot of people have, maybe I don't have the numbers for it, but I'm back and forth on this thing, They know some things about me that I do got a good heart. I do have a good heart. And I will definitely stick up for what I think is right. But as I said, I don't expect you to be like me. What's that one chick singer? I don't know what her song is. I don't want to be like you. I don't want to be like you. I think I showed this one. Colorado. That's me in the middle. I've showed this before. A lot more active. We climbed up, I swear to God, behind Boulder Falls. That's in Boulder, Colorado, and I'm in the middle. Yeah, that's me. Yeah, believe it or not. And how I did it with a backpack on, but I did it. These were a couple of fellas that I ran into, like-minded individuals. I think they lived in Colorado. Looks like an album cover or something, right? For a rock band or something. Pretty cool, huh? Yeah. I've had some good times, I met all kinds of people in my travel when I used to go across the United States on a bus. So many people I met on a bus and some good times too. A number of women I met on a bus that I was later on in contact with. I can't, oh, you're welcome. I don't regret certain things in my life. I don't regret it. How about another one here? This is in Hawaii, in Honolulu. Let's turn this camera around. And we were at a restaurant in Waikiki. I don't know, anything else I care to show I haven't showed before? Oh yeah, it was at in front of my house. She made a big old snowball. We had about 14 inches of snow. I don't think this was up in the mountains, this one. I think this was at the house when we had tremendous amount of snowfall. Can't get the whole house in here. This was my house, a little portion of it that I had in Seattle area, out in the suburbs. My little GMC Jimmy, whatever I had there at the time. It's a nice place, nice location. She was very surprised that we owned our own house. Daddy, that's our house? I said, yeah. And she had her own room upstairs. There were some steps that went to a very good sized room with deep closets on both sides. And she really enjoyed it. We had a insert fireplace. We had solid oak floors that I refinished myself. Yes, I actually did it myself. I did it myself. And it looked really good. It looked like it was wet when somebody walked in there. It looked so good. So good. Okay, I have to get my ugly mug back on camera again, if you don't mind. Give it a few more minutes on here anyway. Anyway, that's my story. And I'll tell directly to my daughter, she listens, I love you. I have not forgotten about you. I wish things were different. I wish you'd contact me sometime. Still love you. I'll love you till the day I die. And see, people, I'm not making judgments. I could talk about a lot of different things I felt were not right, but I'm not going to get into that. She is my daughter, no matter what. Whether we don't talk or not is irrelevant, really. It's a thing between me and her. Oh, God, got to see this one. Okay. Yeah, that was me. Well, my nose looks pretty big at that angle. I had my long hair. And that was her. Anything else I could throw in there for good luck? This is me in, that's in Hapuna Beach, Hawaii, I believe, when I was just basically vacationing in Hawaii, and I didn't actually live out here. Had a nice build, did I not? That's me. That's me. Although I don't look like that now, but, what do you want? Give me a break. And we all go through changes in our life. Uh-oh, what did I hit? Oh, there we go. Sorry about that. We all go through changes in life. I'm very happy to say that I've done a fairly good job of keeping my shit together and not going out of my mind. Although sometimes, yeah, I feel like I am. But I'm grounded, and that's like the most important thing. My girlfriend of 10 years, and people don't like to hear that, 10 years now, grounded me. It's unfortunate that what I see and hear on YouTube and how people are basically chasing their tails, and we talk about this quite a bit, it's pretty sad that that's actually happening to them. It's none of my doing, of course, but it's theirs. And they're obviously doing something wrong with their life or something that I don't know why they can't find a woman, especially in the Philippines. I know people think about the Philippines, even my daughter. You got to be pretty desperate to have to go find a woman in the Philippines. I know my brother thought that way, other people I knew, but they never been here before. The beautiful women we have out here, the mixture, color of their skin, how nurturing they are, how wonderful they are. I'm sorry to those out there who have had bad relationships where it didn't work out, or she went after your money and stuff like that. Yeah, it does happen. We hear it all the time on here. And the good timing is good here because I got 2% battery left. So this is working out really well. I want to wish you all a happy Valentine's Day. And to my daughter too, happy Valentine. I hope this guy is treating you well. That's all I care about, to know that you're well. You have permission to write me if you want. I believe I did send you my new email address. I'm actually going to send you a copy of this show. Just make sure that you do have it. And you can make of this what you want, you know. The message is, I love you. I always loved you. I'm not holding a bunch of stuff against you, and I really hope you wouldn't do that with me. I'm not going to be on this earth terribly much longer. Let's talk. Let's not argue with each other about anything. And remember the good in our life. And there was plenty of good. Plenty of good. That's my message to you, Shauna. Not going to be here forever. Sorry. I know that. You know that. But sometimes you got to let your guard down. I have. And that's my message to my viewers. Yes, it's great modern day. If your children, Nico, I have to bring him up because he's been very caustic with me over this shit with my daughter. Our situations are different, Nico. Okay? I wasn't into drugs like you were. I took the time to raise my daughter on my own. The worst I did was smoke cigarettes. I didn't drink, except a few times I'd go out now and then with the guys. That's it. Drinking and me are not synonymous. They're not synonymous. They don't go together, Nico. You like to drink. You don't worry about your diet. Well, if you cared about your kids that much, maybe you would take a lot more care of yourself so that you will be in your children's life for many years to come, Nico. Many years to come. You know, I can't control what people think about me, but I got to be honest with myself, primarily with myself, before I could be honest with people on my shows. I have to be honest with myself. That's just who I am. That's one thing that's never changed with me. If I believe in something, I believe in it. If I say I'm going to do something, as you know very well, I do. That's part of my own constitution here. Nobody's going to tell me different what to do, how to live my life, whether my relationship's never going to last. Dudes, it's been 10 years. Get over it. What did they predict? I always said that 6 weeks. It's been 10 years. And if my girlfriend didn't have an interest in me, throw out the thing about money, throw everything out the window, she would not be with me. Now, hopefully my daughter is happy for me that I have found somebody that fits into my life very well, that I am very happy. Despite circumstances going on, I got to tackle a few things yet, but I'm happy. I'm very happy being out here. It's not the kind of place you think. You probably see all these things on there with their communities. They look like garbage. And, you know, yeah, they do have that out here. Oh, it's all over the place. But there's nice places, nice houses, nice malls, and a resemblance of, Western culture. We have both of that out here as well as we have in America too. It was not a bad place for me to move to when I think about it, but I did get to experience, which is great, taught me a lot. I did get to experience Washington State. If it wasn't for Washington State, Shauna, you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be here if I didn't meet your mom. Maybe that didn't work out, but that was for the best. I think you understand that completely because you know how you dealt with her. She wasn't always in your life, even afterwards. You know that. You know who was the better parent. There's no question about that at all. There's none. I think you know that, dear. Yes, your father could be goofy, and I did the goofy things. We'd be in a, I just like to tease her. We'd be in a supermarket shopping, there'd be music on. I might get into a dance or do something really stupid, but I've always had that sense of humor. And she did have a sense of humor, but, these things would embarrass her terribly. But I knew that. I knew that to get her, I did that to get a rise out of her. Not trying to hurt her, I did that to get a rise out of her because she knew my personality. And I wasn't like this stiff shirt, starched shirt. I wasn't like that. I know she would have preferred a father who wore a suit. He was a businessman. Yeah, I remember that too. I remember all of that. It always happens when you watch these family shows on TV, and she was really just so engaged with these family shows. We had the father, he had all the kids, they all got along. Every problem was settled by the end of the show. They were all happy. The father was a businessman, maybe wore a suit to work. That wasn't me. I was a blue-collar worker and proud of it. No problem. I was a blue-collar worker. I'm still was proud of it. I couldn't work behind a desk anyway, no matter how much you paid me. Parks Department tried to do that to me to accommodate because of my back, but my anxiety couldn't take it. The room would close in on me. I just couldn't take it. You're going to get me to do some desk work. I'm sorry, I can't do 8 hours of that. There was no way in the world. I would go crazy. I like moving around. I'm active even at my age now. I already did my exercise this morning. I'm not deviating from it anymore. I'm starting to do that for a while. I'm going to be as vibrant and vigorous and that I possibly can for my age. I hope to live a long time, but I have no control of that. I can contribute to my longevity by doing certain things, besides certain bad things I do to myself. That's where I come from. That's what I'm all about. So anybody has a question about me, you're always welcome to ask me a question, but ask of me, not from a troll on here. I know you see all those shows they do against me. Obviously, if you've been following me for years, none of that is obviously true. I don't go after, I'm not a pedophile. Not in the least. I've been around children one way or the other all my life, one way or the other. That's not who I am. It's what they'll say I am, just to kind of get my goat. And one guy is unfortunately suffering because of that. Pleaded guilty to 5 counts for cyber libel. Now, unfortunately for him, he's paying for it. Is it worth it? And somebody else is going to find out in the end. She's going to be asking herself the question, was it worth it putting a complaint in against me? People just have to wait and find out. Maybe they're gamblers. They'll, hit a lucky 7 on the dice, but they might hit snake eyes. Got to think about that. With that being said, we've been on here for an hour and 5 minutes. We've been on before this morning. We've been killing it, and maybe a little bit of overkill. But nothing has ever stopped me from saying the truth about things. Remember, it is I that present the mirror in front of some of the trolls on here to show them what they're really like. And it's really up to them. They want to change their life. I've done a pretty damn good job of doing that with my shows. And I think everybody who watches me on a regular basis knows that very well. It's not worth lying on here. I got nothing to lie about. Or else I would have ran away from YouTube a long time ago. I'm in 10 years now. I'm in it for 10 years. If I had something to hide, even now with this complaint thing going, I wouldn't be on here. I'd be in hiding somewhere or something. I walk the streets. I do my shows every day. Life is every day like usual. I'm not intimidated by anything, by anyone. No matter how much money you have and power you think you have, I'm not intimidated by you. I will never be intimidated by you. Just face that reality. With that being said, hey, happy Valentine's Day, people. And I mean that. It's not just for your partner or wife, children, everyone. It's about love. Oh, my back. My God. It's a good time to get off because I'm on 2%, 1% battery. Anyway, I got to get off here. Thank you, folks, for tuning in. Wasn't much dialogue, but it means I got you listening. That's the important thing. Thank you very much. Please subscribe if you haven't or don't. That's okay. And again, I got a Gcash. We'll put it in the description. If you like my content, why not? Thanks, folks. And we're out of here.